I wonder when's the last time I actually wore a straw hat in a One Piece video. And I'm pretty sure the title says it all. To let you guys know, and I'm pretty sure if you guys have been keeping up with my own social media, when I always usually update a lot of things in Twitter, I have watched One Piece Stampede film at 7 o'clock all the way to finish to 9 o'clock. It was really fun, action-packed, and really, really intense, especially when you're watching with an audience who loves One Piece as well. Hopefully, most of them do. Otherwise, why would they even be there? All right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure if you guys have been keeping up with One Piece or watched the trailer or do your research on things, you would know what Stampede's all about. But more than that, let's just get this started. You see, the film opens up with like a lot of pirates coming to this pirates festival, and it's only to pirates only, obviously. But eventually, Luffy and the others will actually have a lot of fun traveling around in the festival, grabbing their fill of food, and later on they will participate in a game, which I'll get to just a moment. Not to mention, what's this announcer's name? I don't know. All I know is like he had a scheme going on, or just a little minor spoiler ahead or something, but it wasn't revealed too much of that until later. But all I know is like he said he's gonna make this. He's gonna like make it big, big. Aside from that, there will later on be a competition of all kinds of pirates. You can see them in this. It's all seen in this movie. It's like from freaking like Eustace Kid, and then like Bonnie, and then almost all the worst generation pirates that you know, like Capone, and then many others. I mean, there's gotta be so many characters you gotta know that's in this movie already. I mean, obviously. I mean, who wouldn't know? Unless you're not a One Piece fan, you just go, eh. Okay, enough of me, like, goofing off. Continuing on. We had to it eventually, of course, the Straw Hats, even though they were far behind in the race to go to a certain island, because an island popped out of the Pirates Festival when the pirates are racing for each other to go after certain treasure, Even Buggy, oh my gosh, what a gag he was. Anyways, all I know is a lot of pirates were actually racing and fighting each other to go after this treasure that Goldie Roger left behind. And apparently, rumor says it that this is actually one of the pieces to get to one of the biggest treasures in the entire series. Obviously, you already know what that is. I don't need to explain it. But, as I say, Straw Hats were like very far behind, but thanks to Frankie's technological advancement and genius, he managed to push them all the way to the top, of course. But not to mention, they ran into Law, which apparently he made his like teleportation on the Straw Hat ship when he saw them. Not to mention running away from Buggy the Clown, And apparently things kind of gotten really tense from here on out because Law tries to warn the Straw Hats, including Luffy, you guys got to get the hell out of here. This place is going to be turned into a war zone. I've been doing my fair share of research of what the hell is going around this island, and it's really, really bad. Although, he was going to go on this mission alone, Robin, Sanji, Brook, and Chopper decided to tag along with him to figure out what's going on. As for Zoro, Luffy, Frankie, Nami, and Usopp, they decided to continue their game of grabbing Roger's treasure, which apparently involves a little small treasure chest that was very old, which apparently that Luffy and the others and many other pirates are fighting over to the death to go grab it. But throughout the time of fighting, Buggy somehow will manage to actually get his hands on it. Not to mention, I'll get to that with Buggy in just a moment. We get to see Smoker and Tashigi dressing up as pirates to maybe spy on some things and figure something out, because we have to with that that something is going weird with this festival, or something is not going right, or should I say Smoker's hunch. What makes it ugly right now is that Law, Robin, Sanji, Chopper, and Brook are still on the investigation, but they ran into Smoker of that. But not before this happened. I mean, once Buggy opened up the box and realizes something, all of a sudden someone shows up and it's Douglas Bullet, and he ends up causing major, major damage and mayhem. Not to mention his hockey level. Oh dear lord. When he hurt Usopp when he when he hurt Usopp, Luffy was really ticked when Usopp grabbed the treasure after Douglas Bullet caused a lot of damage around the facility or the island. We see to it that everybody in the worst generation took on Douglas Bullet, but he was way too strong. Just when I thought he was just pure muscle or pure physical strength, you know. But not only that, he has a Conqueror's Haki, and Luffy clashed against him, and it was an intense fight. Eventually, Luffy will be forced to try to team up with the others, even though he never wanted their help in the first place, and they still couldn't do anything to him. Not to mention, Luffy will later on be forced to enter Gear 4th Snake Man in order to take on Douglas Bullet. But apparently, even his strongest attack of King Cobra, that did not even do squat. Eventually, Douglas Bullet will later on reveal his true Devil Fruit power that involves combining things and making it into very strong metal whatsoever. It's complicated for me to explain it. I mean, all I know is he has this combination ability, and apparently it's very, very intimidating because he turned himself into a giant robot and he freaking knocked out a lot of freaking pirates who were taking him on. Not to mention the Marines were trying to do their best because the guy who's behind the Pirates Festival, he is freaking working with the Marines to cause some kind of new change of era, which is one of his biggest goals apparently, and he teamed up with Douglas Bullet to do that because we get to know that Douglas Bullet was actually part of Roger's crew, and we have to it, of course, eventually as the movie will show itself, Douglas Bullet, after figuring out that Roger died or something, he will go on a rampage, you know. We also get to know about a backstory of Douglas Bullet himself. He used to be a very strong soldier or marine fighter, but eventually he will be betrayed by the very army he's been working for or he's been bonding with for a long time, and later on would later on face betrayal, and he will later on have so much hate involved. And later on, that's when he became this loner type guy, not caring for anyone else but himself, you know. Eventually, he even told Luffy off, you having these weaklings at your side, you can't achieve anything. I have achieved the greatest power and becoming the strongest by proving what I am. And apparently, we get to know more about Douglas's backstory, that he was so strong that the only thing that was able to stop him was a Buster Call. And therefore, after what's been going on, and he'd been trying to convince the Marines and tell all the Marines, you better hit me with all you got, your Buster Call, you know, after transforming into something big and gigantic, you know. Eventually, Boa Hancock and many other supernovas, former Trafalgar Law supernova and many others, will later on team up, but not before we see to it, of course, that when Sanji, Robin, and Chopper and Brook had to take separate ways along with Trafalgar Law, we have to it that Law will later on go with Crocodile and later on reunite with the other supernovas, etc., you know? Not to mention we get to see Rob Lucci, Sabo, many other characters that you would know from One Piece, obviously. I mean, if you've been keeping up, that is. But, yeah, pretty much Douglas Bullet's Devil Fruit power, along with his Haki, pretty much almost made him invulnerable or invincible. But apparently Law has an idea of a plan in order to make this work, you know, and even after Luffy got patched up by Chopper, he went back into battle. Eventually Luffy will somehow bring inspiration to team up together, you know, with Law, Smoker, everyone else, you know, and the Buster Call coming in. Well, the Buster Call, that's a different story. They're just firing the freaking cannonball to destroy the island and to try to destroy Douglas Bullet, you know, obviously. We see to it that eventually Luffy would make an inspiration for everyone to try to work together to take down Douglas Bullet. Despite Luffy getting a lot of hits and damage from Douglas Bullet's Haki along with his Devil Fruit power, he still comes back. And eventually, after Law and the others are doing their best to damage Douglas Bullet, and thanks to Crocodile's help, which is really shocking that he was in this movie, forgot to say that. We see to it eventually they would later damage Douglas Bullet's awakened Devil Fruit power, which he used in this movie to become very gigantic and very big, you know. And we see to it, of course, what he revealed also in that small treasure chest is eternal poles or navigation to Rafdale, you know, etc. That was like a long before, like when Douglas used his awakened devil fruit power and everything else all together, you know, etc. Okay, aside from that, yeah, pretty much he's been like causing a lot of mayhem, ruckus, and you know, Luffy somehow brings together allies and enemies to work together and take down Douglas Bullet, you know. Eventually they would damage him enough for Luffy to actually use his crazy attack, which is non-canon. I'm pretty sure which is non-canon, whatever canon, however you want to perceive it. Luffy would later on use his freaking giant King Kong gun whatsoever. Pretty much a very gigantic version of King Kong gun. And able to like do damage and get him out of there. We see to it that Douglas Bullet will still be in another part of a machine, but apparently thanks to Usopp's planning ahead of time and throwing in some pop Green Star bullets that he fought with Douglas Bullet despite losing unconscious after regaining consciousness, you know. We see to it that it'll be Douglas Bullet and Luffy facing Luffy head on in his Gear 4th mode, you know, Boundo Man. We see to it that Douglas Bullet explains to Luffy how he rose to the top, having to have no friends and no one to drag him down, you know, and that's how it is, and the sea is known to be a battlefield, and Luffy tells him off by saying there's not a single person at sea is ever alone, and later on, songs such as We Are played, you know, which is very awesome, and they end up having to clash against each other greatly, and Luffy in the end would later on defeat Douglas Bullet and later on find out what's in the chest after he grabbed it and defeated him. Eventually, Boa Hancock explains to Luffy that he's got the eternal poles that can reach him to Rafdale. Crocodile and Lucci were trying to go after Luffy to like get the eternal poles, but that can lead them to Rafdale. But Luffy, on the other hand, broke it with his bare hands. They go like, "What the hell are you doing?" And Luffy's like, "Look, I don't need this. Okay, that's all there is to it." Eventually, you know, the Buster Car is still going on, and eventually, Sabo will later on take out the guy behind the Pirate Festival whatsoever, and knocks him out, and eventually teams up with some girl, which I forgot to mention, who has the ability to make visionary illusions or something, but enough to give a big distraction for Luffy and everyone else to escape, which is really awesome. Aside from that, towards the ending of during the ending of the credits, you know, everyone else, we see a lot of pirates making their escape. Some of them are captured by the Marines, and you know, there's a kind of being a very hothead, you know. And yeah, I forgot to mention there was Fujitora in this episode facing it against Zoro. Yeah, I know, forgive me. A lot of things have been happening in this episode. I can't seem to remember, put it into my head, and then put it into organize it in the rightful order. Yeah, like I said, there'll be a lot of characters in this movie that you'll recognize. I mean, I already named enough, and nothing more I can really give out, you know. I don't want to give out. So yeah, One Piece Stampede film. Pretty cool. And we get to know why Luffy broke it. He goes like, dude, I don't want to take the easy way out. If I did, I wouldn't have a lot of crazy adventures that I wouldn't be able to witness, you know? And of course, there was a scene during the credits, or maybe there was a post-credit scene where someone actually recorded the adventures of Roger's crew together when he was in Roger's crew. But eventually, Rogers just threw that eternal pose right into the sea, and a fish swallowed it up. So I go like, so hold on. Are you telling me what they've been fighting over this entire time was a eternal pose that's like a lie or something? I don't know. But no one knows anyway. Like I said, I mean, like, this movie was really tense, and like I said, there's a lot of characters you'll see in this movie that you'll recognize as long as you're up to date with One Piece and everything else. But yeah, dude, it was very, very intense movie, in my opinion, and it was pretty fun. So until then, people, I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm Alpha Zero. Have a good day, and I'll see you guys next time, all right? Peace out. Bye-bye. Toot-toot-toot.